Hello there my fellow holotable heroes, and welcome to a brand new Conquest video guide. You probably know, but volume 12 of Conquest is about to start on Monday, and as always, whenever a new one comes around, I update my website SWGOH Life, the link in the description below, with all the latest tools and guides you will need to hopefully get that max rewards quite easily. And as usual, in today's video I'll be going through feats from global to sector by sector, just highlighting some of the teams and units that will help you along the way get those feats done. Before I get into it, just to quickly show you the other tools you have here on my Conquest page. So I'll be adding video guides for each of the sector as I'll be playing through, so if you need that, they'll be here. And then of course my daily plan, if you want to follow along, just to see you know, how many battles you need to do a day, what type of feats you have to chase every day, just so you can get you know, in 14 days to that max rewards. Then obviously we got the recommended data disks. Now looking at the CG's forum post, it looks like they're just rehashing the same data disks yet again, which means gone in 30 seconds data disk set with amplifier agony, or self-destruct disk set with thermal exhaust. So these are the two powerful data disks that you can use. And finally, the enemies tool that allows you to find, for example, whenever you come across a different team, let's say versus bow, you can select sector and it kind of shows you estimated speed range in that sector that this team can have. And finally, using those two data disk set I mentioned before, just some of the team's suggestions how to counter those enemies. So definitely a useful tool there if you're wondering how to go about beating certain enemies. Okay, and now let's go to the main portion of today's video, which is the feats preview. Now this is all based on the data mines. There's some weird stuff happening where we have the Tarful feat twice on two different mini bosses, so maybe that's a mistake or not, we'll see once obviously the Conquest goes live next week. But for now we'll just go through with the data that we have. I mean, first of all, as always, you can skip up to 34 key cards. My daily plan will be excluding Ben Solo, Dr. Aphra, Doubt Feat, as well as Galactic Legend Leia. So this in total will be skipping 22 key cards. The reason why I'm skipping these feats in my daily plan, because these are the rare units that many of you might not have, like Ben. He's a Conquest unit, Dr. Aphra obviously a sort of legendary character, and then inflicting doubt, only Dr. Aphra or Malgus can do it as far as I'm aware, which again, two rare units, so many of you won't be able to achieve that. And finally, Galactic Legend Leia was added to the game just like what, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago or something, and she's already required here in Sector 5 for the final boss. And then as well, the Tuscan Warrior feat has not been added to the plan yet, because I'm not sure exactly how to go about it. Anyway, let's get into the feats and you will see what I mean. So let's look at the global feats first. Obviously the challenge path returns, we have to defeat enemies on the challenge path. Then we got a Hot Cartel. Now we actually can build two full Hot Cartel units. If you do have Jabba, that is, you can put Jabba and the leftovers, and then I guess the good Hot Cartel units there. If you don't have Jabba, you know, whatever you've got, I'll try a different combination of Hot Cartel units, so hopefully you know, we can find something to work. Now luckily, as we're going through with these global feats, you know, a lot of the teams that are listed here, many of us will not have maxed out. But luckily it looks like we again have that Bad Batch node in Sector 1, where they're quite slow, where we were doing our Wookiee and Phoenix feat in the last runs of Conquest. So I think we'll just be able to juice this data core node in Sector 1 for these you know, global feats. We have to win 40 battles. If that's not enough, how about another 40 battles with these guys right here surviving? Unfortunately no Elder in there, so you won't be able to chase his revives. You have to use these 5 Ewoks, obviously including the latest edition of Nisa, so 40 battles there. And then we have the return of the Phoenix feat, the same as last time, 20 battles. Same thing with the Wookiees, 20 battles with the Wookiees. You don't need to use Tarful, just obviously Tarful it, even at low gear, actually is a very powerful one. And as mentioned before, the Tuscan Warrior, you have to defeat 100 enemies with Tuscan Warrior. Now previously we had these, you know, usually light side units where you can just kind of use Jedi Master Luke, and inherited teachings and quickly cheese kills there. This time we'll have to think through and figure out something else for Tuscan Warrior, what would be the easiest way to cheese these. Again, I'll be doing lots of testing once Conquest hits and obviously release a video with the cheese potential. So these are the global feats. As you can see, quite a lot of battles. Now as I'll be going now through the sectors, you will see that actually, at least in my opinion, that this volume of Conquest is going to be the grindiest we've ever had. There's literally like no overlap between global and sector feats, and then even within sectors themselves, not a lot of overlap between feats. So looks like CG definitely went out of their way to make sure that we'll have to do more battles, especially if you look at my daily plan. Normally the way daily plan is kind of scheduled is that you do for the first 7 days 3 refreshes a day, and for the last 7 days 1 refresh, whereas this is pretty much the first time I just completed like a draft daily plan that's obviously available on the website. It actually looks like for the full 2 weeks we'll almost have to be doing 3 refreshers every day, so definitely hopefully Dark Trooper Moff Gideon will be worth this extra grind that we'll be subject to in this volume of Conquest. Alright, let's look at Sector 1 feats. So we got Jawas. Now, at least it's not a win with a full team of Jawas, you just have to have 14 battles with at least 1 Jawa surviving. So the way I understand is, you can just plonk Jawa in any team. Obviously, if you do have good Jawas, you know, you can run a full Jawa team. Otherwise, you can just put it with some of the teams like CLS that's very powerful. And the reason why I have here Mon Mothma and Palpatine is because they will tie in some of the other feats we have here in the sector. But this is just anything as long as your any Jawa survives whatever you've got. Then we got Old Republic. Now, similar like Hut Cartel, if you do have Old Republic, all of them, we actually can put 2 full Old Republic teams together, but probably most of you will maybe just have Jedi Knight Revan there. But again, if you're struggling to find any enemies, we'll be using here in Sector 1 that Datacron node. And here we have the potency up. You've got a bit of a mishmash teams here, maybe not exactly teams you want to use, but it's just more like combination and hopefully sometimes integrating Jawa in there for the Jawa feat as well. Now there's Sith Marauder and Fifth Brother, obviously they go well under Palpatine lead and with Mara. We can get stuns out, however these 2 guys here, they also give potency up to all the allies, which is nice. And then Spy here as well gives their potency up to Separatist allies, so you could run a full Separatist squad if you want to get potency up an extra time, or just chuck in Jawa, I guess, for the Jawa Sector 1 feat. Then we got here Wookiee Starport as well. We've got some ability in this team as well to give potency up for your Wookiees if you're running obviously a full Wookiee team for the global feat. And then Jedi as well, they've got nice potential here with potency up. You could just run them under Jedi Knight Luke, throw in Jawa, I guess, and then Kit Fisto, his AoE gives potency up to all of your allies. Old Ben, I believe, grants it to himself on his basic. And finally Kyle, if the target does have, is it Force Influence or whatever that debuff is called, he will grant to all as well potency up. And then finally the brand new Scout Trooper as well can grant potency up to your guys here as well. So you could run, I guess, Imperial Troopers and then get some stuns with them in a way that you first start off with the days from Piet, and then you can put Mark on Death Trooper, and Death Trooper is constantly called to assist by Piet, and then a Death Trooper, whenever he hits with his basic an enemy that's dazed, will be landing stuns. Speaking of stuns, again, just rehashing some of the teams I've shown you already. Obviously Palpatine, Mara in this particular lineup stuns, Luke's got a stun. If you're running Old Republic, Jedi Knight, Revan, Basti and Juhani, they all have stun, but single target only, but at least you can get few stuns out while you're, you know, knocking out your Old Republic. And then as well, obviously there, if you are running Wookiees, Chewie and I think Vet Chewie as well, they also have a stun, and stun as always, we have to do it 100 times. Okay, so for the mini boss, we'll be fighting versus Gamorrean guards with Seer Junda surviving. Not sure how powerful these guys will be, but again, you could just, you know, whatever feats you still need at this point, probably some stuns and Jawa battles do that. Because Seer, she's an allied force user. For the Hokiro legions, again, you could run some sort of Mon Mothma team or something. You know, we'll see how good these guys are. And for the final boss, we have now Rancor. I believe Rancor was in Sector 2 or was it Sector 3 in previous volume of Conquest. Anyway, we have it now in Sector 1 already. So you have to win with Ben solo surviving, maybe just hunt Chewie, I don't know, hopefully power down Rancor and L3 there obviously for with the Preton so that Ben doesn't get eaten alive. And because Ben, like Seer, he's an unaligned force user for Hoki Religions, we can just replace him with somebody else. Okay, so that's Sector 1. As you can see, not a whole lot of overlap between Sector 1 and Global Feats. Let's move on to Sector 2 now. Saw Gerrera, yeah, that's a new thing. Now even sectors have a specific unit feats. You have to defeat 10 enemies with Saw Gerrera. Now, unlike Tusken Warrior, because Saw is light side, we can do some sort of master look here, cheese team. But again, I'll be doing testing what's the best way to do this without master look. So we have to do that 10 times, which, you know, probably could do in about 4 battles if you've got look. Now, and you will see here that there is not a whole lot of overlap here in Sector 2. Because Saw, his support, and then there is feed that says no support. You have to win 14 battles without support in your squad. So between Saw, no support, again, no overlap. I just put here this separatist team just because we have Burning Feet as well, and Django's got Burning, he's a separatist, could play nicely with this one. And then you could run some sort of Wookiees, but you have to throw Tarful out of here because he's support if you want to do your global Wookiee feat, as well as no support here. And then moving on, again, no here overlap. Plague, Talz and Marin are your only source of Plague, and they're both support. So as you can see, definitely it's going to be a lot of battles here in Sector 1 and 2 without much overlapping. And finally, Burning, Django, he does Burning. You can run him, I guess, with Bounty Hunters, or as I've shown you earlier up there with General Grievous. R2 is another source of Burning and Quill, but they're both support. So if you're doing that, you're not making progress towards the no support feat. If you do have their Inquisitors, you could maybe run them as well without support ones. And then you can essentially just there kick out Fifth Brother. He's the only support, I believe, from Inquisitor. And then if you do come across a Jedi enemy, then eighth Brothers AoE will be landing Burning on them. Obviously, if you do have Reva and Grand Inquisitor, again with 8th Brother, whenever you see a Jedi, just throw these guys in there and let them burn. And we got mini boss, so here we'll be battling versus Boss Lead with Tarful surviving and without Sith, Jedi and unaligned force users. So again, just use some sort of Han Chewie team there with Dash, Beskar Mando and Tarful. And for the final boss, we are battling versus Jabba with Saw surviving and with only dark side characters. Now, I don't know how will we be able to beat Jabba here. It really depends how juiced up these guys are without Galactic Legends. I'll be testing out, see if, you know, these guys can get something done. And then for dark side, like Night Sisters, maybe, I don't know. We'll have to again wait and see once these modifiers kick in what we'll do with Jabba in Sector 2. Let's move on to the Sector 3 now. As I mentioned in the intro, we do have doubt. We have to inflict doubt on enemies 60 times, so Malgus or Afra, those are your two options. If you don't have them, you will have to skip this one and miss out on 10 key cards, unfortunately. Then we got Nisa, so this is same like Saw in Sector 2. You can defeat 10 enemies with Princess Nisa, obviously Jerma's Luke squad, or, you know, if you can get that global Ewok feat done as well, if you got solid Ewoks here, they can get the job done. But in this case, might be tricky to time hits that Nisa defeats the enemies, but then again, she's assisting a lot anyways, landing damage over times, amplify agony and things like that, right? So maybe it's not going to be as challenging as one might think. Then finally, I guess a bit easier, well, if you do have all the resistance built up feat, because you can actually put together 3 full resistance squads, Rey Jedi Training, Finn Zori, and obviously Rey with leftovers. So maybe this is gonna be one of the easier feats we had so far in this volume. But with Vetran, good to highlight, and as well Hirapo, they both got stagger. That's one of the feats that we do have in this sector. As you can see, we have to inflict stagger 60 times. I just highlight here, you could do some sort of Pulp, Mara, Basti, Stark, Malak, Cheese team. Maybe if you find a Phoenix node or something, you know, where they can keep healing up when you're landing all those debuffs. Maybe you can keep some Thermometer train rolling and knock this out fast. I don't know, I'll have to test it out. And then in terms of mini boss, we have Darth Vader. We are battling versus Darth Vader, and Zori has to survive, and without Sith Jedi and unaligned Force user. Maybe we can get something work done here with a full resistance squad. Obviously no Galactic Legend Rey, no Rey Jedi training, just kind of the Finn and Zori squad here. Get the Thermometer train rolling, and hopefully that should be done quite easily. Then final boss is Chief, Chirpa and Ewoks, and we have to win with Scout, Trooper and Dr. Aphra surviving. Well, you can do it in 2 separate battles, but maybe if you have Dr. Aphra you can just do it in one. I guess we'll have to wait and see, because Ewoks, they do have this modifier that kind of stun your targets, but obviously Darth Revan here with Sith Empire, you know, you will cleanse up those stuns, so hopefully they can get something going. And we're already on to the sector 4, so you have to win 14 battles with a full squad of Tuskens. Now sector 4, over prepared already enemies. If your Tuskens will be low gear, I don't know, we'll have to see if we can find some sort of way to still do this with low gear Tuskens. And then we got evasion down. I mean, evasion down, I think it be constantly having it. You probably know by now the best one is 3PO and Chewie's basic. He's not the only one, but obviously bear in mind we do have the armor shred feat in this one as well. Maybe we'll just do this as we've done before. CLS, Chewie, Han, Sabine, 3PO and Chewie, find a Hux node or as well Phoenix node, and probably you can knock armor shred and evasion down in a couple of battles. Otherwise, if you do run a full Wookiee team there, 3PO and Chewie is there for the evasion down, and then obviously Zalbar for armor shred. Speaking of armor shred, we have to inflict it 20 times as always. Already covered the Sabine Cheese team, Wookiees with Zalbar. Otherwise, you know, we can just bring in Rey and all the light side units that do have armor shreds, like General Skywalker, Armor, Kiarimundi and Ben. So, you know, we can probably get 4 armor shreds a battle with this one. And then we got Riposte feat. Now, I know that actually Malachus and Jedi Knight Cal Kestis, they also have Riposte as well, but they're again very rare units, so probably majority will be done with Dooku. So similar like with armor shred or what we had, stuns and things like that, and stagger. Maybe find a Phoenix node and maybe try and cheese these, or Mon Mothma or something with the revives, you know, and then Dooku can get Riposte maybe 3-4 times a battle maybe, and a couple of armor shreds there with Gideon. So the mini boss, it's Mon Mothma, and we have to win with Scout, Trooper, not surviving, but defeating an enemy, and without Jedi, Sith and aligned Force user. So maybe just a full Trooper lineup, put Mark maybe on Scout Trooper, so he's the one defeating them. I don't know, we'll have to wait and see how juiced up the enemy is. We might have to throw in Malak in there for the fear instead of Short Trooper. For the final boss, we are battling versus Palpatine, and we have to win with a full squad of Mandalorians and with only light side characters. Now if you have solid Mandalorians, maybe you can get all feats done in a single battle, because we do actually have 5 light side Mandalorians. If not, obviously you can run something with Maul or Django or something, a mishmash of dark and light side, and then just throw, I guess, CLS for the light side feat as well. Okay, so let's move on to the sector 5 now. So we've got the return of the ability block, so you have to do that 60 times. Now this is maybe not the most practical one, but it potentially can get a lot of ability blocks in a single battle, because with Krennic, the Empire units, whenever they critically hit, they will be landing ability block. And then obviously Thrawn himself, Vader and Pilot as well have abilities to give ability blocks themselves as well. And obviously Malak is there just to take the hit, because this is sector 5, and yeah, it's gonna get quite ugly if you don't have somebody to control the over prepared enemies. Otherwise we could do some sort of trooper lineup, because we do have the Empire feat as well in this one. or as well here the Inquisitors, also lots of ability blocks, Riva, Grand Inquisitor, 8th brother and 7th sister, they all have some sort of ability blocks as well, and they're all again Empire units. And speaking of Empire, plenty ways to do this. You can obviously have 2 trooper teams, Aiden even at low gear with Amplify Agony is very good because she will start 100% turn meter in beginning. You got Ruthless Swiftness equipped and you can get your turn meter train rolling very quickly. And then otherwise you got Veers, probably have to utilize maybe Malak here in Sector 5 already with Voluntary Vanguard data disc. Obviously if you do have Inquisitors, you can throw these guys at anything basically. And then obviously, let's not forget Lord Vader, his Empire as well, so you could use him as also. And then we've got the damage immunity feat. You have to gain it 40 times. Now obviously this is the thing to do is Rey. If you do Rey, maybe just I just said it here, Vet Han, Old Ben, Rolo and Jedi Guardian, because they all have AoEs with ability blocks, so helping you with ability block. Obviously if you are going in with Rey, you might want to stay away from Lifeblood because you want enemies to do lots of damage to you, so your guys drop into the damage immunity there. Otherwise other option here as well for the damage immunity, actually it's a mistake, it's not 8th brother, 5th brother has got damage immunity, I have to fix that. So 8th brother with Inquisitor, he is also, I think, when he uses his special on a target, it's got like 3 or more stacks of Purge, which obviously with if you are using Riva, everybody will have already 6 stacks of Purge. So you could get 1 damage immunity per battle. Another option is with Finn Zori as well. Maybe just run with a full resistant tank lineup, because whenever Smuggler or resistant tank ally with Zori in there fall below 100% health, they will gain damage immunity. Another option, I was thinking maybe some sort of separatist mishmash lineup here. So we got Newt lead, and then Django under separatist lead will start off with damage immunity already. Jordeka can grant himself damage immunity as well, and then we got Boba there for the ability blocks, and finally Beskar Mando. All of these guys, including Newt, are scoundrels, so if they do drop below, is it what, 50% health threshold, then Beskar Mando gains bonus turn and he can give them damage immunity. So that's also one way to maybe get a few more damage immunities out there as well. And finally we got the return of the Flawless Feat again, so just, you know, whatever you use, you don't lose anybody and you will be credited for this feat. Okay, so we got now mini boss in Sector 5. We are battling versus Veers. We all know how Veers annoying is from previous rounds of Conquest with Pierre. They just keep rolling. So if you do have Admiral Raddus, like even at low gear, his lead will daze the enemies, and then you let Han, Chewie and Dash take out those guys very quickly. However, we do have to also win with dark side characters only, so maybe we can get something done here with Darth Revan Malak, bringing in HK in there, because if Revan is the leading slot, then enemies with protection up can't gain bonus turn meter, and enemies, I think they do have range trooper in there, so if range trooper gives protection up, this will also stop them from gaining bonus turn meter. And final boss, so we'll be battling versus ATST. So nice, again, boss battle similar like a Rancor. Definitely liking the fact that CG is now trying out, you know, like real boss battles, do something special with them. And this is, yeah, you have to win with Galactic Legend Leia. Probably not many of us have Leia unlocked, so we'll be missing out 5 key cards. But at least we could do the no Galactic Legends feat. I'm thinking maybe some sort of a trooper lineup here, because we need to get all these Empire kills anyway here in Sector 5. That's all the feats, at least the ones that we are aware of. We'll see if, especially the Tarful that's twice, is that intended or not. We'll have to wait and see what's going on there. But as I've mentioned before, and as you've probably seen by now, not a lot of overlap between global and sector feats. At least I couldn't find something very, very useful. And even within sector feats themselves, I think especially first 3 sectors, I think you are going to feel quite grindy. They will require a lot of battles actually to get them knocked out. Sector 4 and 5 a little bit better, which is okay, I guess, because you have more days for sector 1, 2 and 3, because they're earlier to complete than, you know, if you have to grind out sector 4 and 5. Okay, hopefully this video was useful and helpful. Just kind of give you a preview of the Conquest feats upcoming, as well as go ahead and check out my website if you haven't seen it yet. Link in the description below with all this and everything else you will need to conquer the Conquest. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one, but until then, have fun, enjoy life, and may the RNG be with you, my friends.